Good day.
Good day.
Thank you for agreeing to participate in this interview. We are conducting a community investigation on moral and civic education as part of an academic research project. The purpose of this interview is to gather perspectives from different generations on moral values, civic responsibilities, and the role of schools in teaching these important concepts. Your participation is voluntary, and the information you provide will be used solely for educational purposes. With your permission, this interview will be audio recorded to ensure that your responses are accurately documented. Your identity will remain confidential, and no personal information other than your age and occupation will be included in the final report. There are no right or wrong answers. We are interested in your honest opinions and experiences. The interview should take approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Do you consent to participate in this interview and to have the interview audio recorded?
Yes, I do consent.
Thank you. We will now begin. Do you understand the term moral values and civic responsibilities?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I will give a little briefing on what is moral values and civic responsibilities. So moral values are the fundamental principles and beliefs that guides a person's behavior, helping them distinguish between right and wrong, and civic responsibility is the active participation, duties, and obligation a citizen owes to their community and country. Now, do you think that is the right
I do.
meaning of
I
the
see it
words?
that way, yes.
Yes, of the terms. Thank you very much. So, what? How old are you?
I am 19 years old.
Thank you. What is your sex or gender?
I am female.
Okay. What is your occupation?
I am a teacher.
Wonderful. Thank you for your service. What
You're
is your
welcome.
what is your highest level of education?
My highest level of education is an associate's degree.
Okay. Congratulations
Thank you very
for
much.
having an associate degree at
Thank
such a
you.
young age.
Thank you.
Good. So, what is the name of your place of residence?
I reside in Wangna Scheme, located in the Mabuma subregion of Region 1.
Okay. So, we're we're at section B, the interviews questions. So, we're going to go straight into moral values. What moral values were most important when you were young, or let's say younger?
So, when I was younger or growing up, some moral values that were very important to me was being respectful, being an honest person, being kind, sharing kindness, and being responsible.
Oh, thank you for that response. Why do you think these values were considered important?
I think they were considered important because, they help people to get along and build trust.
Okay. So, who played the biggest role in teaching you these values in terms of, you know, your parents and so who played the biggest
So most
role?
definitely my parents would have played the one of the biggest rules when it comes to these specific moral behaviors and values. Then there are the teachers who guide us in school. There is also social media influencers out there at times the ones that are for, pushing for moral values, and religious leaders, or I'd say religion, specifically for my religion, would be Christianity. And it's good to be respectful, honest, respecting your parents, elders, and so on around you.
So, how were these values taught to you? You can provide examples also, one or two example.
So, in terms of, or in relation to my parents, I was given a lot of guidance and advice growing up. Um, in terms of teachers, there were school rules that were, part that became part of our norms and mores. On a day-to-day basis, when we go to school, we follow the rules, and that adjusted to real life situations by the time you're finished with school. And family discussions, there would be things that would be discussed within the um simple conversations and so on.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So, which moral value do you believe had the greatest influence on your life?
I
I
think on my life, I'd say all of them had some really, they had some really good influences on my life, but specifically, there I would have to say responsibility, because it helped me to, achieve my goals. I you know i learned what was responsibility, and how to, what was my responsibility as an individual, and as a child, and as a student as well. It shaped me and directed me um in ways that can lead to me achieving my goals.
oh, wonderful, wonderful. That's very good. So, do you think the moral values you identified are stronger or weaker among young people today? I know you're pretty young, but do you think today, do you think those moral values you identified, do you think that they are stronger or weaker today?
My honest opinion would be that it seems to be it seems to be weaker, because many young people now are influenced by social media. I'm not saying that being influenced by social media is bad, but it depends on what they're looking at, and what they're being, you know, what they're looking at and uh taking the exam taking whatever the persons are doing as examples and ways to go about their days. um they can always look for motivators out there and so on to help them, but sometimes social media can be misleading and you know influential in a negative way. Then there's also peer pressure, in which teenagers tend to want to fit in a lot now. So if they see their friends is doing something or carrying on with a specific behavior, they think that they should do that too, and they ignore their responsibility as a student, or as a child, or or just as an individual, and say, okay, because this person is doing something, I should do it too, because I'd like to fit in with them.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So, what factors do you believe have contributed to any changes in moral values over time?
So I'd have to say social media, globalization, changing lifestyles. Social media, I already explained that
Yes,
earlier.
that's true.
Globalization, there's a lot going on. One thing can be happening in a specific part of the world, and that's also globalization also relates to social media in a way. So, you know. because you go on the phone and you see things that are happening in other countries, and you think, okay, this is something that I should do, right? um Changing lifestyles. There's different ways of life now people choose to live, and teenagers would see those different changes in lifestyle and think, okay, well, this is the new me, this is the new thing, so maybe this is something I should get into as well.
Okay, thank you. So, in terms of civic responsibilities, in your opinion, what does it mean to be a responsible citizen?
So, as a citizen, it's important for us to follow laws and help the community. I mean, that is what defines our relationship between us and us as the citizens and the leaders of our country. They have their roles, and we have our rules and responsibilities, and in this case it would just be to follow the law, help the community, help each other, try to motivate each other, do good things that would help help everyone in general, when it comes to the safety of each other, ensuring that crimes aren't taking place. Our responsibility following the laws would help, individuals not to commit crimes, because you know.
Yes, I understand. So, what are the civic responsibilities that citizens often neglect?
So some civic responsibilities that a lot of people would neglect would be voting. That's one example. A lot of I mean, that's like one of the biggest thing. So that is one of the biggest influential thing for us, for a country, right? Each citizen has the responsibility to go out and vote, and make a decision that can influence the welfare of the country, right? So, and then there's community service. It would be good to have, let's say, youth groups and so on to help clean up the communities, or just go and help neighbors around, or help build things and so on. Those things would be very nice. um Environmental care, just to have a clean environment, planting, contributing to biodiversity, you know so those are simple civic responsibilities that citizens often neglect.
Okay, thank you for those information. So, why do you think these civic responsibilities are neglected?
I'd say the lack of awareness and interest. I mean, of course, we have a lot of young people now that are mostly caught up with devices and so on, so they show a lack of interest in specific things that relates to civic responsibilities. Lack of awareness, there's not much people that try to inform others, or maybe even share pamphlets to inform people of just simple environmental care and so on, why it is important that these things should be done. So, yes, so lack of awareness and interest.
Okay, so what impact does neglecting these civic responsibilities have on society and the community?
So, I'd say there is more crime and community problems.
Okay, all right, thank you. So, so let's, in terms of education and solutions to these issues, how should schools address issues related to moral values and civic responsibilities?
So, schools can address these issues by, having interactive lessons based on these values and responsibilities, debates, the students, whereas this will open up the students to more conversations and they can do research and so on to, just this little research that they will be, using for their debates will help them to gain a more understanding into the moral values and civic responsibilities. Projects and community service, the schools can organize groups within the, you know student body to go out and, carry out some community service or projects, that can help them again become more aware of these moral values and civic responsibilities.
So, do you consider those as like in terms of programs and so on?
Yes, definitely.
Would you recommend schools to implement these things?
Yes, I would.
Okay. So that brings us to our 14th question. Should moral and civic education be taught as a separate subject or integrated into all subjects? And why?
I do think that it should be integrated into all subjects and school life, as of course they're in school, and they're when they're out of school there is a lack of awareness when it comes to these responsibilities. So if in school there is parts of the different curriculum, they can enter these morals, maybe it can be seen between the lines, there you're teaching, and somewhere along the line there is some moral that is being learned from these different curriculums or topics. And this would, keep them, keep these thoughts of civic education and moral values fresh in their minds.
Okay, very good. So therefore, um, all of that would possibly fall under um, the that's advice that you would give to teachers or so, or what
Yes, I would.
okay, okay.
Um,
So,
yes, so
so
teachers can use.
sorry, we use the HFLE program mostly to teach morals and let's say civic education, right?
Mhm.
So that's health and family life that falls under, I believe, and social studies also. So is there any specific thing that you advice that you would give to teachers in terms of
Yes.
teaching this in the classrooms?
Yes, I would. So, of course, every day we see live examples in front of us. So, I would advise the teachers to use real life examples and technology to engage students, because technology can, they're already using technology in terms of social media and so on. So, why not use that as the same weapon to show, you know?
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else you would like to add regarding moral values and civic responsibility or education in today's society as it relates to education in today's society?
Yes, I'd say young people need more opportunities to contribute to society.
Okay, well, thank you for your responses, and
You're welcome.
yes, thank you
It
once
was a
again
pleasure.
for taking the time to participate in this interview. Your response have provided valuable insights that will contribute significantly to our understanding of moral values and civic responsibility across different generations. The information you shared will be used strictly for academic purpose and will remain confidential. We appreciate your willingness to share your experiences, opinions, and recommendations. Your contribution has been extremely helpful to this research project. Thank you once again for your participation and cooperation. Have a wonderful
You
day.
too. You're welcome.